Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and once again, we're here with Aran and Franklin, a show we do every week. And over the last 2 or 3, 4 months, I think we've been really harping on talking about the TWIA because Chandra was on the board. She's a free person now. She ran out her term, as many as she could have, and so. But now we're going to bring you information on the team, the people that make up Aran and Franklin, because it it it's not one person can do everything. It takes a team of people, and so if whether you're doing home construction or you're getting certificates or you're doing engineering or you're doing drainage, there's different people that take care of different things. But today we're going to start off with Dave, and he's been on some of the shows here, and I'm going to let Chandra introduce him and talk about how long he's been here, and then we'll get Dave on here to talk about exactly what he does for Aran and Franklin.
Thanks, David. So, Dave is my right hand. He's one of the Franklins in Aran and Franklin. He's my baby brother. I've known him his whole entire life. He said I've been bossing him around ever since he was born, so he might as well get paid for it. So he came on in 2011, and when my dad and I were about to transition the company, we started transitioning the company in 2012, and I took over in 2013. So Dave's been with us through that whole transition. Kind of took my mom's role at first because she stepped out in 2008-9. She still helped out a little bit. We had one interim business manager that came in. But Dave came in as business manager, then he moved to general manager. Now he's my COO. So like I said, he's my right-hand man. Anything operationally, he kind of handles. So I'll kind of leave it there and let him tell you a little bit more specifically about what his role entails and kind of how he fits into the company. So
I've got one question real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
What's it like working with family, David?
Well, it's interesting. It presents some unique challenges from time to time, but at the end of the day, when you're working with somebody you can trust, it makes it, and Chan and I think very parallel. That's why we try to get opinions outside of her and I, because we think a lot alike.
Is that because of the engineering background y'all both have?
Well, I'm more. Chan's the engineer. I'm started out more in the construction.
And that's right. You had a construction company.
And had a lot of practical, on-site experience that I brought in. Because in an engineering firm, you have people sitting in chairs looking at lines and boxes, and a lot of times in the field they don't really know how that translates. And there's a lot of, and that's one of the things that I kind of do is I'll kind of liaison between the builders, the engineering team, the architect, what they want to do, how we feel like it needs to come together, and then what can feasibly be done in the field to make that all happen. So
Dave speaks contractor. They could translate between the engineering team and the technical side, and what is that contractor really saying?
Right.
So he's great at
that.
Right,
and we have a lot of really good contractors we work with, and they're very knowledgeable. And sometimes when they start talking to some of our younger engineer or drafts people, they can be talking about things and using different lingo and different terminology that really kind of confuses them. So sometimes we'll sit in, or they'll ask me, hey, what does this mean? And so we can kind of walk through all those. But yes, it's dealing with the contractors and the clients is one of the big things that I do. Just kind of overseeing the day-to-day operations of the company, the profit and loss. Another thing that is really is liability on us. We're an engineering firm. We're designing people's homes, the biggest investment they're going to make. Right. And we're dealing with sometimes contractors that we're familiar with and we have a high degree of comfort with. And sometimes it's somebody new that we're having to try to get on board to do things the way that we feel that they need to be done. Engineers, a lot of times, it's like if you go to the doctor, you have one that wants to do holistic, one that wants to give you some pills and another that wants to cut. So engineers are very similar. There's different ways to fix the same problem. So it's just what we're comfortable with and what we've been doing for the last 25 years that's worked for us and been successful that we try to implement with those guys. And that can be a challenge sometimes. You know, I've been doing it this way for 40 years. Well, I'm sorry, you know, you weren't doing it quite right for 40 years, but we're going to get you on that.
Change. I mean, things change too. That's
codes change.
And down here on the coast, I know we've had builders here on Bolivar come in that have built up in East Texas or different areas. And man, between the zones and the building, this is a whole different ball game down here. And, you know, even on the realtor side of it, you have to know the peninsula and you have to know the coastal area so that people, especially if they're new coming in to haven't really been down here other than vacation, it's a whole different ball game. Whether you're buying land, building a house, building a, you know, subdivision, or it's just different because of water and the way our land is down here and properties are. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, and you get into things when you're doing larger projects, wetland delineation.
Oh yeah,
dealing with the TxDOT and, you know, what they want you to do as far as traffic and tie into their infrastructure. And there's a lot that goes into that, and that's one of the things we had. Our civil department, we put it together pretty quickly, and that was one of the things that we had looked at as a long term, just trying to diversify the company in order, because we had a lot of our eggs just in the windstorm basket.
Right.
And the real estate market kind of starts coming down like it has been recently, then that affects, you know, interest rates go up. People don't want to build they're not as inclined to build. They're waiting on interest rates to come down or waiting on the economy to improve, you know, or real estate to get better. And so that's one thing that's really kind of been a factor on us. So in order to diversify that, we've kind of gotten into other things. And civil really came together quick. We put the right people in the right positions, and, you know, we've had some learning curves, but we've gotten through them all. So
great. Well, I know when you do get over here, it's always a lot of knowledge and learning on my end between dealing with realtors and I've learned more about TWIA over the last 3 or 4 months than I've ever learned. And every time you and I've talked, Dave, you know, about something, there's always some knowledge taken out. And so, do people you're mainly with contractors then? So a homeowner or a property owner, if they have a question, they probably won't talk to you.
Maybe not initially. It usually works its way up. So it usually starts with the coordinator. If the coordinator can't answer, then it goes to the inspector manager. And then if that's, you know, it may be just a straight engineering question, but a lot of times I get questions over plans or how can they do something different? You know, every job you do, there's a change.
Right.
There's a change in the plan. You go out and you start putting pylons in the ground, start hitting things. I mean, whatever, you don't know what's under the ground. So,
sometimes they start framing the house up too, and they go, "Oh, if I could just change this view," because they want a certain view. Once they kind of get it framed, they say, "Oh, this isn't the view I thought I was going to have," and they want to reconfigure things.
Move a window over, and that just changed the whole outlook on the engineering part.
Yeah, but I mean, you're trying to give people their dream home too.
Right.
You know, you're trying to give them. You're trying to take what's in their mind and in their heart, like, and bring that to reality. And like Dave was saying, we have a lot of good value engineering as well, between his knowledge as a contractor, you know, and, you know, our ability to come up with different solutions. I mean, we're not just a rigid one solution company. Like we pride ourselves on being problem solvers, and Dave's great at that. I mean, he's a really good problem solver. He's really good at problem solving with the clients and really getting down to the crux of whatever their issue may be, whether that's on the design side or on any kind of internal problems that they may be having dealing with our firm. So I mean, Dave's great at that. And, you know, and I really wanted to touch on, and because we've talked earlier, we've got Raphael out there, brewing around, and it may be, it's November, but it may be heading, somewhere between Louisiana and Texas. And fortunately, it looks like it might come in as a tropical storm, but, all our clients, we're actually doing strong home inspections today. We're still doing strong home inspections because people want that baseline for, maintenance that they have to plan for the spring. And then they also for these last storms that are coming through. I mean, you remember a few years ago, we got through the Z and we got to Beta and Epsilon. And I mean, all those crazy, storms that kept going after season ended. So I really want Dave for a minute, just to speak about the Strong Home Inspection Program, because that was his baby. Like he's the one that really, really got that one off the ground and really thought through that whole process. So I want to give that back to him and let him tell a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can tell you. So the biggest thing is after these storms and I'll be a case in point. I had damage to my roof during the latest hurricane, and I'm still dealing with it, trying to get my roof replaced. And I've been through 3 or 4 different people. Luckily, I had all the information before. We went out and looked at it afterward. Chandler did her assessment. She said, "Yeah, okay, there's problems here," and this has been 3 months, and I'm still dealing with it. If I didn't have all of that, it would just be a no. So and so what the Strong Home Inspection is for is especially a lot of our customers, it's a second home. They have a second or third home, investment property. They're not there all the time. They have people coming in using the property, and they're not sure exactly what the condition. And a lot of people, you can literally look at something and say, okay, well, that looks okay. And then I could look at it and say, oh, you got a problem. That's a problem. So, you got a maintenance issue. So
we can dive into that. I want to do another show on that, because with Burl this year, we had a lot of new people because we really hadn't had any storms, close calls or anything in the last couple years. And Burl really opened the eyes for a lot of people. One, not realizing how hard 55 or 60 mile an hour winds are, or wind gusts up to 100 mile an hour. And what it means when you may be isolated because the ferry may shut down and Highway 87, was probably going to flood. And it opened a lot of eyes. I've had a lot of people that have come to me and said, "Man, David, you can drive your blankety blank down that highway and report on it, but it'll be a cold day in heck whenever I stay here for another one like that." Because they didn't realize, and these homes down here shake, and when you're sitting there and the power's out and you can watch your glass of water and that water sloshing, it's different. And so we're going to do probably several shows on the Strong Home, or what my plans were to do several shows on the Strong Home Inspection Program, because we've touched on it several times and we've dove into it one time, but I really want to get into each facet of it, what it covers and how y'all inspect. And so Dave, be expecting a phone call from me or a text on, "Hey, let's set something up. You can sit in your giant." I'm going to have to get me a new chair.
That's a nice chair, isn't it?
I've been sitting here for 13 minutes now, and I'm like, dang,
you got chair envy, don't you?
Chair. He's leaned back. He's comfortable. Man, I need a new chair, because I've got packing blankets under me because I'm in my chair so much, and it's not one of those big ones. So anyway, well, Dave, thanks for joining us today. He is part of the family, but he's part of the team too at Aran and Franklin. And we've done a lot. We've done quite a few shows with him. Typically, he comes over here around Thanksgiving or Christmas and sees me every once in a while. So we're going to try and get him over here. We've got a new studio, so we don't have to stand out on a hot beach day if we want to talk about something. So,
that's great.
We're going to head on out. We'll be back next week with Andy, another team member from Aran and Franklin. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.